Buenas tardes, mis amigos. ¿Qué tal? Please support your local food bank, drug and alcohol center. So I have some updates regarding the IHOPKC. I've been following this. Please join me in prayer for everyone who has been affected by the sex scandal at IHOP. First of all, for the women and the advocates. Now, I said in my previous video, Jane Doe's testimony, Mike used prophecy to sexually abuse me. And this came out November 30th. And in this video, I said, I'm waiting for IHOP. They're going to respond. We're going to look at their response because there's Dean Briggs. There's Dwayne. We're going to look at that. This is IHOP, and they just posted Dr. Michael Brown. So we're going to look at this because...
Hey, friends, it is December.
Where's my thumbnail? IHOP ETL response, possibly awesome news. This is actually really encouraging to me because what Dr. Michael Brown says in this video, we're going to look at it in a second. We're also going to be looking at these guys because they're responding as well, December 1st, all right? So that's what we're going to look at in this video. If you could do me a favor, you click the like. Oh, it's interesting. The comments are turned off. If you click the like button, more people get to see my video. All right. Dr. Michael Brown.
1st, 2023. When you watch this a lot.
We're going to, under the law of fair use in public domain, I can't play the whole entire video, or I would. I have to break it up a bit, just under the law of fair use in public domain. So we're going to skip it forward a minute. I'll leave a link in the description to watch the whole thing.
Haven't you shouted it out to the world? Things are just dragging on. And why are you trying to silence accusers or victims? God forbid I try to silence anyone. My public stance has been don't gossip. Don't post public speculation. And if you have serious accusations, there is a right biblical way to bring them. And there are processes through which this can be done. That remains my position. But yes, everything must come to light. The ELT will tell you I have been almost like a thorn in their side, pushing to make sure that the right third party is brought in. Say, why weren't they brought in from the start? The ELT felt that because there were charges against Mike Bickle, some of which amounted to a crime being committed, that they had to go through an attorney if a crime had been committed. But at no point have they ever resisted my counsel for a moment to bring in another third party. They made that clear from the first moment I was involved with them. Otherwise, I never would have gotten involved. And as of today, I was assured that there has been active, very active communication with numerous third-party firms to do their best to bring in those or the one that can do the very best job. And things are going to be coming public very, very soon in terms of what has been done. That's
great news. Praise the Lord. That's what we're seeking. Thousands of people have signed a petition in order to bring in a third party. And let's just back this up a bit because he's saying as of today, now remember the timeline. We're going to keep coming to this video in a second. This came out November 3rd. Bickle used prophecy to especially, she's given her testimony. It's been published now. We know the history of one of the women. And this all came out a day before Dr. Michael Brown has been assured by the current ELT they're going to do an investigation. And we're going to look at this too. But now these men, someone behind there has also been feeding Stephen Strang with Charisma Magazine private reports and spinning their narrative regarding Mike Bickle. This is a guy here. We're going to look at him too. All right, let's listen to that one more time. As of today, this was posted December 1st, one day after this report has been posted. That was my last video.
Continue to do that. And again, as of today, I have been given assurances because I have been pushing. I have been pushing aggressively. The ELT will tell you, almost like, what's this guy doing? To say, third party, what's the status? Much has been happening. A lot of these things take time, engaging people, getting them involved, finding out the right organization to bring in.
All right. I want to move this forward a little bit because he does say some other positive things as well. I think we'll go straight in here at 4.
Be encouraged. Much is happening behind the scenes. I still have the same request. There is no need to be speculating on social media. There are ways and processes that are being set in place where people with complaints, with concerns, with allegations will have safe places to bring them. That has been ongoing and has never been stopped.
All right. So there's some positive feedback there that the public pressure on these men is working. Wait, sorry, not these men. These are the advocates, West, Dwayne, Brian, and Alan Hood. These men have been receiving public pushback, and now they're forced into responding. Dean Briggs posted this 2 days ago. 5 weeks and 2 days. 5 weeks and 2 days. The ELT was formally informed 37 days ago, with warnings and concern expressed even prior to that. Still no independent third investigation. What could possibly justify this? Question mark. What is really going on? And then because of all the public exposure, well, many people are calling for their resignations. In fact, Dean is too. Where's Dean? And Joel is as well. Dean Briggs. We're going to look at that article that just came out with Stephen Strang. Dean Briggs. See, the current ELT is pushing their narratives that possibly donations. Here it is here. It's time for the entire IHOP ELT to resign. And Joel Richardson saying the same thing. The report on initial findings forever cemented in the mind the complicity of the ELT of protecting a predator. They all need to resign immediately. That's Joel Richardson, all right? Now, that was what came out to IHOP, all right? That was Dr. Michael Brown. Very positive. If they do get a third party, that's what everybody is seeking, is that this is brought to light, a safe environment for the women to give their testimonies, and then Mike to have a response, and then publicly post the findings. Now, these guys, unbelievable. Stephen Strang is still pushing. Well, let's look at it. But before we get to that, we're going to give the voice to the ladies, particularly this one survivor. All right, before we read this, this is what came out December 1st. 1 day prior to this, Jane Doe said speaking out to the media was her last resort. She was forced into this public, the re-victimization and the harm that is caused to the advocates. We're going to look at that too. Somebody's writing a book. All right. In spite of the fact IHOP thoroughly knew my story, they have consistently minimized and denied their knowledge of the real evidence and the victims, plural. She said, I am devastated that men and women who have been my friends for 25 years have completely shunned me since they were first made aware. I have hoped we could all work together to do the right thing. How I have been treated has broken my heart. So the damage has been done. This poor lady is on social media reporting and giving all this publicly because of the inaction of the current ELT. Now, these guys, who is this guy? Let's look at this guy for a second. This is Larry Tomczak. All right, Larry Tomczak. Let's look at him. Because this guy, Larry Tomczak, is good friends with Mike Bickle. In fact, right on his website, the first thing I noticed when I clicked this, Larry Tomczak. What's going on here? We have Mike Bickle. Mike Bickle, founder of IHOP. All right. So that's Larry. And I looked up Larry in the photos, and he's part of the cares. I was dedicated and baptized in a Pentecostal church. The first thing I saw was this man, Stephen Strang, and Larry. Now, these guys got together, and they put out this 40-year friend, beware of evil reports regarding Mike Bickle. This is one day after the survivor testimony that Mike Bickle used prophecy to sexually abuse her. All right? The damage that these men have done to the victims and the integrity of the advocates standing up. Now, this is a video that was put out, Exonerated. Right. So let's look at this article that just came out. Charisma Magazine. All right, December 1st. Years ago, I had a divine appointment with Billy Graham and asked for advice, pointing to the Bible. He said, stay in the book. Let's just do that and consider a fresh look at the challenging situation Christian leaders Mike Bickle currently faces. Now, I've read this, and the whole entire article is regarding restoring Mike back into a position of power and not a thought or prayer to the women. In fact, it's the opposite. They're calling, well, here it is. A month ago, allegations were raised by a group alleging Bickle conducted himself in an unworthy, requiring an investigation and possibly disciplinary matters. I've known Bickle for 40 years as a very close friend. I also stated on the onset, established wrongdoers should be covered but examined with detail. In 51 years of ministry, I've seen the good, the bad, the ugly. In similar situation, smite the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. So the reference in this Charisma Magazine, if you're a new Christian, this is the shepherd is Jesus, and the sheep are the Christians. Smite the shepherd and the sheep scattered. The accuser of the brethren knows this. This gets crazy. Watch this. A classic episode of Twilight Zone. Aliens being infiltrated a community and engaged in a campaign of personal and community destruction by whispering subtle morsels of evil reports that eventually brought citizens to blow. So he's doing an analogy of the Twilight Zone. Serious stuff. When I read this, I was shocked. Dante's Inferno listed levels in hell, and the very bottom was reserved for those involved in treachery and betrayal. What this is saying, that the very bottom, worst part of hell has been reserved for these men. There's a direct parallel. For the people that have brought up their concerns regarding Mike Bickle's sexual morality, the worst and hottest place in hell is reserved for treachery and betrayal. The reason is probably due to the horrible repercussions that result when people damage others' lives and reputations. There are 6 things the Lord hates: a false witness that speaks lies and who sows discord among the brethren. It's exactly what these men are doing. Do not listen to the accusation unless an elder against an elder, unless it is confirmed by 2 or 3 witnesses. And that's what we have. Dwayne Roberts is saying that there are around 20 witnesses have come forward with first-hand experiences of impropriety. This is all over the news, and this is their response. The first is to present the case seems right, unless a neighbor comes and examines it. That's what we're doing right now. We're examining these men. All right, these men. All right, this is called due process, innocent until proven guilty. Months ago, I was in a room where the pastor referred to a Christian leader as sexual predator. I cautioned that person and later got back to me with accurate facts. After in-depth conversation, the leader and the attorney, the tragedy is that damage had already been done, and the false report that circulated was a reputation ruined from slander. That's what these men are doing to the advocates and the harm they're doing to the victims. I owed a debt of gratitude. Let's just skip down here. Evil reports, watch out. An evil report involves distortion or incomplete facts or false information. It is given with wrong motives and cause hearers to come to an inaccurate conclusion and respond with unscriptural solutions. Billy Graham had faults. Bickle's test. I'll leave a link. You can read this whole thing. Pressure reveals the person. After the IHOP story broke, a leader declared Mike Bickle a wolf in sheep's clothing. What I believe they're referring to is a man named Joel Richardson. This is a man named Joel Richardson, all right? Regarding the IHOP scandal, how these types of things tend to unfold is a pattern of old as mankind. The first effort will be to discredit all the men and women who have come forward as whistleblowers and their advocates. That's exactly what has happened. If you skip down here, it says here, I want to be very clear. Mike Bickle was my hero. I esteemed him not only for his excellent Bible teaching, but more than that, anything for his integrity and character. But based on everything that I have seen and heard, I absolutely believe he is a wolf in sheep's clothing who needs to be removed, from ministry permanently. I am willing to lose everything over this. So that is the conviction and testimony of Joel Richardson. Read that. Everything that I have seen and heard, I absolutely believe that he is a wolf in sheep's clothing who needs to be removed from ministry permanently. I am willing to lose everything over that. It's so important that we look at the timeline. After the victim testimony that she has given regarding the sexual abuse, November 30th, these men have posted the defending Mike Bickle on social media. Others seem to salivate after they have more ammunition, those crazy charismatics. Now, just for the record, I am not a cessationist. All right? I was dedicated and baptized in a Pentecostal church. My family has been part of this Canadian Pentecostal church for 3 generations. In fact, my beautiful grandma, I love my grandma very much. She has died, but she was one of the first women graduating in Canada with, it's called the PAOC, Pentecostal Assemblies of Canada. All right. She drove people to visit the hospital until my dad took away her car because she couldn't see. She's an awesome lady of God. And I believe women in ministry are critically important. And I identify as part of the charismatic community. And I listen to Pastor David Wilkerson quite often. If you imagine in disseminating evil reports, you'll reap what you sow. Therefore, let him who thinks he stand, take he will fall. This is the time to guard your speech by devoting to prayer for Mike, Diane, and the family, plus leadership team and their community. So, there isn't a thought or even mention of the victims in this after the survivor testimony has gone public. A friend loves all the time, a brother is born in adversity. That's a great Bible verse. Go to IHOP website and so they want you to go and read the IHOP account. 3 women issue public statements. You can see those on my website. I've documented all of this. And these are the young ladies that were protesting. And I'll continue to do updates. These are the 3 women. Catherine, April, and Misty. Now, the leadership team states abuse claims against Bickle lacks evidence. Legal counsel and leaders have determined the allegation lack of not a shred of proof is what's being reported by Stephen Strang. A document originally prepared by the group supposedly to accompany the allegations does not contain any actual evidence from supposed victims. The group allegations were accompanied by a list of demands and threats, which included the dictate IHOP use of funds. This is particularly egregious that these men are still pushing this idea. It's disgraceful what they're doing in Charisma Magazine. Because what the truth is, and that's what I'm a truth seeker on my channel. I look after truth. And if you click here, the funds, the IHOP funds, demands and threats, including the IHOP funds generated. Here it is here. The seriousness of the allegations, which everyone acknowledges, all the Christians can acknowledge, demand a requested response, suggesting they were made to ELT of various options of independent investigation groups and future care for victim therapy. To have this characterized as dictating use of fund is egregious. Mischaracterizing demands, threats, and the true objection is deceptive and slanderous, and has led to the concerned leaders receiving online threats, curses, and harassment, all after IHOP public statement. Such slanderous miscalculations must be walked back. They're receiving online threat, curses, and harassment. We're going to look at the harassment in this video on Dwayne Roberts' social media. This is pretty shocking. You want to stick around. We're going to read it, and I'll give you an example of the harassment they're receiving because of these men and these men. All right? One of the alleged victims, Bickle, prophetical manipulation for 25 years ago. The allegations were all non-sexual, but the other woman referred to some physical contact. Here's the deal. Let's just skip down to the bottom. I say all of this. Remember, I'll leave a link in the description. You can read the whole thing. I say all of this. I say all of the above while praying for God's perfect will be done. I reiterate that accountability is essential. If the careful investigation reveals wrongdoing, I'm confident it will be handled biblically and repetitively with discipline and God's plan for restoration of this man of God who is a gift to the body of Christ worldwide. He needs our intercession at this critical time. May he emerge stronger ever to finish well. We love you and appreciate you, Mike. So there isn't a thought or mention of in fact, it's the opposite. The direct reference to Satan the accuser, donations, and restoring Mike. All right. Now, we're going to come back to this because these guys, unbelievable. All right. Now, Dwayne Roberts, this is his Facebook, and I've seen this post many places on social media. They're getting hammered on social media, slammed. So here it is here. This is in the comments sections, all right? This person, Carrie Foster. So this is just one example of harassment, online threats, curses. We're going to look at the curses and harassment in this because this gives us an example. This is Dwayne Roberts' Facebook. His children, his family, and ministry can all see this, but it's on all the social media accounts, all right? I've seen this everywhere. Alan Hood betrayed Mike Bickle, Chapter 1. IHOP is still my resting place. Written by a team of international forerunners. Alan Hood will be always known as the greatest threat to the end-time prayer movement. Can you see that? The world has ever seen. Alan betrayed his ex-spiritual father, Mike Bickle, in the evilest way imaginable. Yes, Alan can be restored to honor and dignity among the global frontrunners and nations to rebuild the trust, but it'll be very difficult. We speak the spirit of prophecy and declare Alan Hood betrayed Mike Bickle. How? Public statement that spewed demonic hearsay. Now, I believe there's a possibility when it says here demonic hearsay and gossip about his ex-spiritual father, Mike Bickle. This was released the same time other spiritual sons of Mike were released their public statements accusing Mike of sexually and spiritually abusing multiple women. As the truth is now coming out, we are seeing these baseless claims. They're re-victimizing the victims. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. How I've been treated has broken my heart, and hope that we can get together and do the right thing. How I've been treated broken my heart. All right. In spite of the fact they thoroughly knew my story, they consistently minimized, denied their knowledge of the real evidence. This is one of the survivors. She was a teenager when this happened, 19 years old. But the satanic damage is already done. Alan Hood and these other Absalom spiritual sons betrayed and started something that is even every demon in hell is laughing their faces off. Alan Hood's public statement. This is how Alan entitled his betraying public statement. What kind of spiritual son would publish this title to the nations? A betraying one. Alan is passing on demonically fueled gossip and slanderous information that, can you imagine? One of the highest ranking generals of intercessions has lived, Mike Bickle, the House of Prayer. Dear reader, would you do this if your natural or spiritual father, a faithful son or daughter would not? Alan Hood is like Noah's son Ham. How long is this thing? Dear reader, would you do this if your natural or spiritual son, a father, son, or daughter would not? Alan Hood is just like Noah's son Ham. Noah's betraying son Ham. Noah betrayed a vineyard and used the grapes to make wine. He drank the wine, became drunk, and shamefully laid naked. Noah's younger son Ham saw his father's condition and the fact that Noah was naked in his tent. Rather than keeping the matter quiet in an attempt to help his father, Ham told his two brothers in salacious news. Ham's response is his father's sin showed somewhat of Ham's betraying character and disrespect for his father. Mike Bickle has not committed all these sins Alan is gossiping about. But even if he did, a true spiritual son would not publish such evil statements to the world. And there's always hope in Christ Jesus, and God answers prayer. He hears the cries of his saints. He hears the cries of this lady going on. That none of this had to happen. The only reason all of this has gone public is how Mike Bickle has handled the situation. If he would have just listened to Dean, Wes, and all the other ones, Alan, submitted environment for the women and a healing process, it didn't have to come to this. All right? But these guys, it's reprehensible the damage they have caused to not only the victims, the advocates' reputations, the online threats, but to the global church. This isn't just a small church in Kansas City. This spans globally. And the culture of protecting somebody in power has to be exposed. And not only the people that are not only the man involved with this, Mike Bickle, but the men that have made this possible to covering up. These guys and these guys. And ultimately, our hope is in the Lord. So have a great day. Leave me a comment, like the video, and I'll keep you up to date on any updates that come out. I'm actually absolutely convinced we are going to get some more updates very soon. I believe that they're preparing them right now. It even could be today. I might do another video today because somebody behind the scenes is preparing updates, and they're going to have to spin the narrative because this is all public now. And my hope is that they make a good decision. Wouldn't that be great if they came on this? You know what would be the greatest thing is if Dr. Michael Brown, if the current ELT is telling Dr. Michael Brown the truth, and the next post that comes out says, we have heard the cries and outcries for a third-party investigation. We are taking our hands off of this and hiring Grace or Guideposts to do a thorough investigation, invest the money, and we are going to publish the findings publicly. Wouldn't that be an answer to prayer? And then, of course, the next line out of that is that we are asking for the resignation, absolutely, absolutely, of these men. All of them need to step down and repent for what they have done to the advocates and re-victimizing the victims. I'll keep you up to date. Leave me a comment, like the video. May the Lord bless you, keep you strong in the faith, and always remember, Brother John loves you.